Hello, Algebra 2. Here's today's agenda. You'll have notes today and homework today. So you'll need two different pieces of paper. The essential question is, what do the x-intercepts of a graph tell us about the equation of a polynomial? You should be able to say that you can identify the x-intercepts from a graph and match it to the equation and vice versa. Tonight's homework is at the end of this video with 4 problems for you to do, so make sure you listen to the whole video. Make sure that your homework is on a separate piece of paper. Okay. So this is notes number A3. For those of you who are new to this classroom, please write notes A3 in the top left of your paper. And then hit pause and draw this graph, please. And then come back to the video. Okay, so hopefully you've hit pause. If not, do that right now. Hit pause. Okay, so I'm trying to pick a color here. So this is going to be the steps to write the equation. So you're going to look at a graph and I'm going to say write the equation for this graph. So what you do is you identify the x-intercepts. So for this graph, I'm making red dots for the x-axis intercepts. So the x-intercepts are at, so one of these is -5, -6, -7, -8, at -5, and also at 3. Then you take the opposite sign of the x-intercept into the parentheses to write the equation. So your x-intercepts are at these numbers. Now you should be writing down all of these words, right? Steps to write the equation. Identify the x-intercept. Take the opposite sign of the x-intercept. I have an extra word in there that doesn't belong. This word doesn't belong. There we go. Sorry, a bit of a typo. Take the opposite sign of the x-intercept into the parentheses to write the equation. So if you have to hit pause here to write those words down, do that. Hit pause because that's what's taking notes is. Hit pause and come back to the video. Okay, so to write the equation, we start with f of x or y equals. We're going to put f of x equals because you're a junior now. Take the opposite sign of the x-intercepts is what it says. So you're going to put it in parentheses, write an x, and then right here, instead of -8, you put +8. The next one, write an x. In the parenthesis, take the opposite sign, so it'll be +5. And then for the last one, draw your parenthesis and take the opposite sign, so it's +3, so you write -3. And there you go, you just wrote the equation for that graph based on those x-intercept dots. Hit pause if you need a minute to copy this down. Okay, your notes are continued. I need you to draw this graph now. And we're going to write the equation. So identify the x-intercept and take the opposite signs. So hit pause while you draw this graph. You have to draw the graph. Hit pause. Okay, you should be back. So we're going to make dots at the x-intercepts. This time there's 4 of them. So here's 0, so this one's at -3, this one's at -1, this one's at 1, 2, 3, and this one's at 4. So our x-intercepts are at -3, -1, +3, and +4. We're going to take the opposite sign. Sorry, that little typo's bothering me. Take the opposite sign of the x-intercept to write the equation. So start your equation with f of x equals. So this one would be x plus 3 plus. The next one will be x plus 1. The next one will be x minus 3. And the last one will be x minus 4. And there is your equation for that graph. So make sure that you hit pause on this video while you get yourself caught up. Okay, so now I want you to draw a blank grid. So you can go from 0 to like 5s. So you should make your tick marks on this one, right? So these little marks here. All right, so about out to 5s. Hit pause if you need a minute. Okay, so I want you to write down steps to draw a graph and write that function down and those steps. So if you haven't done that, you need to pause the video and write that down because we expect you to write all of that as your notes. Hit pause if you need to. Okay, identify the x-intercepts. Take the opposite sign of the x-intercept and plot them on the graph. So you're going to take this one and you're going to use -2. You're going to use use +3. And this one will be -4. So let's plot those. So we need one at -2, +3, and -4. Now we have to decide what does this graph look like. And we need end behavior for your arrows. Does this go up or down? Well, this graph, let me just do a little bit of erasing. This graph is a third degree. So this is an x to the third or third degree. How do you know that? It's because you have 1, 2, 3 parentheses. So a third degree, the odds were 1 arrow up, 1 arrow down. So we know that this arrow is going to be down and this arrow is going to be up. And again, how do we know that it's a third degree, Miss Artofer? You know that because there's 1, 2, 3 factors. So x times x times x is x to the third. Okay, and then just go ahead and raise this up, make it cross, it comes down, it needs to be smooth, comes over and hits that one. That was almost perfect. And that's it. So I can do a little bit better. Let me start over. So it comes up, hits this, comes back down, is smooth, hits this one, and comes back up. Okay? Now we don't know how high or how low that the curves are, but we do know that there's 2 curves, one less than the degree. All right? Okay. So you need to identify the intercept. So draw another blank grid, write down this function. Hit pause while you do that. You have to listen to me. This one's a little bit different. Okay, you should be back. Okay, so there's nothing, highly different here. Oops. Well, right here, we're going to take the opposite sign, so it'll be a -5. Right here, we're going to take the opposite sign, so a +2. Right here, we're going to take the opposite sign, -3. But what do we do right here? What does this one mean? So what does it mean If it's just x, what number's next to it? What number's there? 0. So we can think of plane x as x plus 0. You need to think of plane x as x plus 0. So when it's a plane x, it means x plus 0. So the other one we need is at 0. So your intercepts, x-intercepts, for the first one, right here is for 0. Right here, opposite sign, -3. Right here, +2. Right here, -5. So let's put those on the graph. So we need one at 0. Hold on, it wasn't on my pen. 1 at 0, 1 at -3, 1 at +2, 1 at -5. Then we need to decide the end behavior. So we have to count how many factors we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is an x to the 4th graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So x to the 4th. So if you look back to your your notes from last week, that's an even degree. Even degree means that both arrows point up or point the same way. And in this case, they're pointing up. And we'll go over when they're both pointing down. So right now we're only doing up arrows. So we're going to make both arrows point up. And then we got to do the waves. So remember, you should have 3 curves. 4 minus 1 is 3. You want to come down, cross this, come up, come down, and back up. Oh, I can't believe it. I hit erase. That was pretty good. Down, up, down, up. There we go. I'm going to make my arrow over here. There we go. Okay. So you take the opposite signs for the numbers and you count how many parentheses. That's how we decided it was x to the 4th. Even degree means that both arrows up. And that's from our last week's lecture. Even degrees, both arrows up. Okay? All right, hit pause if you need more time. Okay, so this will be homework number 4. So for this homework, draw the graph on your paper and write whichever answer down here that you guys pick. Whatever answer you think goes to that graph, then write the answer next to your graph. Okay, so you have to draw the graph and write the answer next to your graph. So which equation matches the graph? So there's 4 of these that you need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and you hit pause for this one, and I'm going to advance it, and then you'll have to hit pause and then advance. So here's number 1. There's 4 total. Here's number 2. So take a minute to hit pause. Make sure you draw your graph. Number 3. This time you're identifying the x-intercepts. Now it says identify the zeros, but remember the words 0, x-intercepts mean the same thing, okay? So for this homework, draw the graph on your paper and write the answer next to your graph. And you have 4 choices down here. Which one of these 4 choices is it? Hit pause. And then the last one is number 4 right here. For this homework, write out the equation on your paper. So for number 4, write this down and then write the answer that you choose next to it. And when it says zeros, they mean the x-intercepts. And that's your homework. 4 problems. Make sure you upload both today to your digital workbook. Thank you.